Be me, 29, bisexual, currently in my all-women era. 2 years into dating only women. Got tired of men not understanding my emotional maps. Figured women would be better, more intuitive, more nourishing. Lol. Booked this spiritual reset thing in Bali. Women-only wellness retreat, called Sacred Womb Sanctuary, or some shit. Hosted by my girlfriend, Mia, and her friends. Mia's a breathwork coach with a rage problem. Makes sense. I guess that's a head-on way to work on her weaknesses. Day 1. After we checked in, went to some hipster cafe for lunch. She screams at a barista for using almond milk. I said oat. Do you even hear women? Barista says sorry. Mia stares him down like he's the system incarnate. I slide behind a potted plant and pretend we aren't together. Later she says, you didn't defend me. What an embarrassment. I say, I didn't want to escalate. She says, you're complicit with patriarchy. Buddy, I just didn't want to yell at a 19-year-old over milk. Retreat is full of women who call each other goddess. Sounds nice, but a bit fake, no? They also whisper things like, your sacral chakra feels constricted. They also cry during cacao ceremonies, and then Venmo request each other for $12 after. Damn, empowerment isn't free. Workshops start, sit through titles like Reclaiming Rage Without Apologizing, Womb Liberation Flow, How to Know He's a Narcissist in 3 minutes or less. At night, we journal by candlelight. Sharing circles end in competition over who's been hurt the worst. They call it trauma bonding. I call it group trauma chess. So much more mind games than I expected. Thought only men were like this? Lol. One night, Mia accuses me of emotional bypassing because I said I was tired and didn't want to talk. Nice. Now needing space is abusive. Decide to sneak out early the next morning, walk to some village coffee shop away from the wellness compound. Just want real caffeine and silence. See a couple across the patio, straight, mid-30s maybe. She's resting her head on his shoulder. He's peeling her mango slices one by one. They're talking in quiet tones, like nothing is performative, like peace is the point. Now I feel envy, and I don't know who I envy more, him for being allowed to provide without being shamed, or her for not having to be alpha all the time. Eavesdrop a bit. They're talking about what color to paint their van. They live in it, apparently. No 9-to-5s, no breathwork packages, just roadmaps and thrifted plates. They joke softly. She touches his hand. He doesn't flinch. They exist like a hammock between trees. Low pressure, but supported. Damn, I haven't felt that in years. Walk back to retreat with mango smoothie? Mia sees me and says, oh, so now you're consuming local labor without context? I say, it's a smoothie. She says, what if the people there weren't compensated properly? I drink it faster. Is she going to ask if my lungs paid tax for the air I'm breathing here next? Next day, we do trust falls at the workshop. Mia lets me fall too hard, says, that's what happens when you withhold emotionally. Bruh, I'm not happy. I say, you dropped me on purpose. She says, I was honoring your inner collapse. Looks like accountability died at a healing circle. Start journaling things like, do I even like women, or do I just fear men? Is this empowerment, or just emotional warfare with incense? Why does loving women feel like auditioning for their forgiveness constantly? Close notebook, halfway through. Burn it during the night fire. Some girl claps. Thinks it's a ritual. It's just despair. Run into the straight couple again. They're at a waterfall this time. He's taking pics of her on an old camera. Not for clout, just because she smiled and asked him to. They wave me over. We talk. They ask if I'm here with someone. I say kinda. They don't pry. We sit. He makes dumb jokes. She laughs without analyzing them. I laugh too. Feels easy. Like the joke doesn't need a thesis. Start fantasizing. What if I was the one being held? What if I didn't have to be the rock, the mirror, the analyst? What if I just got to be soft? Head back that night. Mia's fuming. Says I'm dissociating from sacred connection. Says I'm energetically aligning with the male gaze. I say, I just had a nice conversation. She says, that's micro-infidelity, so now I can't even make eye contact without being a cheater. Final night of retreat. Group sound bath. Women crying on mats. One girl vomiting trauma into a crystal bowl. Another channeling her inner fox deity. I lie there, eyes open, watching ceiling fan rotate slowly. Whispers of power and pain blur into white noise. God, what did I get myself into? Text my cousin back home. How do you know if you're done with women? She replies, you'll just feel it. I reply, I think I feel it. She sends back the eyes emoji. I don't answer. Next morning, I pack early. Mia's asleep. Leave her a note. Thank you for the growth. It's a lie, but it sounds soft. Catch a cab to town, see the straight couple again. They're loading groceries into a truck. I wave. They wave back. I keep walking, head full of gendered ghosts. Don't know if I'm straight now. Don't know if I ever was bi. Don't know if it even matters. Just know this. I want to be cherished, not challenged. I want peace, not polarity. And maybe men. Or just for a quick change, they may be emotionally stunted, but at least they don't scream about milk. Left that retreat with nothing but mosquito bites and secondhand trauma. Still a few days left here. Found a small inn near Ubud run by an Aussie expat. Cheap, no cacao ceremonies, no womb talks, just rice fields and quiet. Check in, sleep 12 hours straight, wake up craving eggs and normalcy. Walk to a nearby warung, tiny local cafe, wooden tables, buzzing fans, order breakfast. Guy behind the counter smiles, says, "You're the first person who didn't ask for gluten-free rice." I laugh. He laughs. Now real laughter feels illegal after sacred womb sanctuary. His name's Theo. Half Indonesian, half German. Runs the warung with his uncle. Used to work in Berlin in logistics or something. Burned out, came here to build something slow. Says, fast living makes soft minds. I joke, then my brain is pudding? He laughs again. It hits different. Next few days I keep showing up. Not just for the nasi goreng, but for Theo's presence. Low effort, high peace. He remembers my order, asks questions, doesn't interrupt, doesn't try to therapize me. Just listens. One day, I help him wipe down tables. Talk about music. He likes old soul records. I say, I thought you'd be more into techno. He shrugs. People think a lot of things. I don't feel defensive. He doesn't ask about Mia. I eventually bring her up anyway. Tell him about the retreat, the milk incident, the fox deity vomiting night. He just listens, says, sounds heavy. I say, it was. He says, so? What now? I don't know. I really don't. We walk to a nearby hill, after close. Talk more. He says, you seem tired of always proving something. I say, because I am. He says, maybe you don't have to prove anything to be worth something. I don't reply. Just let the words sit. He reaches for my hand. I don't flinch. For once, touch doesn't feel like a negotiation. Spend more time with him. He doesn't love bomb, doesn't say I'm a goddess, just says, you're funny, or I like when you rant about dumb stuff. Start craving his simple affirmations. They feel more real than all the spiritual jargon I was drowning in. Week passes. Go to his place. Tiny house on a hill. Plants everywhere. He shows me his record collection. We dance, barefoot in the kitchen. Nothing sexy, just dumb foot shuffles. He makes toast with cinnamon and coconut sugar. Says it's comfort food for burnt souls. We laugh. Then we kiss. It's the first kiss in years that didn't feel performative. After, he plays a Nina Simone song. We don't talk, just sit in silence. I start crying. Not from sadness, just release. He doesn't ask why, just puts a blanket over my shoulders. I felt covered in a way I forgot was possible. Later that night, I get a message from Mia. Long-ass paragraph. I hope your shadow work is going well. Remember, you're projecting your wounds onto patriarchy. Love is a mirror, and you broke ours. Delete it without replying. Next day, the couple from the retreat walks into the warung. They recognize me, ask how the rest of my trip went. I say, I stayed behind to rest. They smile knowingly. Say, you found what you needed, huh? I smile. I think I did. Sit with Theo on the porch that evening. Mosquito coils burning, his hand on my leg, my head on his shoulder. I ask him, do you think I'm betraying who I was? He says, I think maybe you're finally choosing what you need instead of who you're trying to impress. I think he's right. And for once, that thought doesn't feel like giving in. It feels like choosing out, from the noise, from the performance, from the chaos packaged as connection. And yeah, men are still confusing, still emotionally stunted sometimes, but at least they don't weaponize chakras, at least they don't scream about oat milk. And honestly, I'll take that.